It's midnight, and you're listening to WOLR, Outlet Radio.
Wait a minute. Did you hire somebody?
No. Did you?
No.
That's fucking weird. Okay. I guess we have an announcer. I haven't seen anyone else in the building.
Janet?
Well, I mean, yeah, but that's not his voice.
No, it's not bitchy and grumbly enough.
No.
Telling us to keep the gum off the walls. Which, do you put gum on the walls?
No one's been here to put gum on the walls in like 20 years. I don't know where the gum's coming from. Anyway, so I guess we're live. I guess we're broadcasting now.
That's what the big red button there says.
Yep. Wow. So, hi everybody. I am Rusty Slasher.
Most people just call me Dark or Toth. Depends on your flavor of the mouth.
Mouth.
The mouth.
Yeah.
Flavor of the mouth.
It's been a while since we've done anything. You guys might remember the Resin Dark podcast or Twisted Geekdom or whatever. But so we're in a weird situation right now. Do you want to explain?
I'm mad at you for reading that will and putting us in this situation.
Oh, come on.
It's your fault. You're in the will.
I mean, it was going to happen whether I read it or not.
No, because we could have just not known and never got this thing and never been inherited, and I don't know the words to use right now, but it wouldn't have happened.
Well, I mean, okay, guys, here's the situation, more or less. So, an old friend of ours passed away, like an old school friend of ours passed away, and apparently he bought a radio station sometime in the last 10 years since we've been apart, and in his will, I guess it's ours now. But it comes with some stipulations. Like, one, we live here now. This is just where we live, which is nice, because there's more room here, and it works out. It's gonna have a solid place to live, and we can never sell the place. And some of the weird shit is it only broadcasts at midnight, but not every night. This is actually the first time, and we've been here for 2 weeks, and it's the first time the light came on.
Yeah, I've been trying to do cool radio stuff during the day, and then at night, and sometimes on Tuesdays, but it just wouldn't work. I'd hit play, I'd hit power, I'd hit all the other bells and whistles and doodads and glowy fucking buttons.
And we can hear it in the building. It just didn't broadcast live.
No, it doesn't work. So yeah, we have a radio which decides when it wants to be on. We have no say in it, which is kind of weird, seeing we're supposed to be the owners.
Yeah. That is odd. That is very odd.
There's also a random janitor who comes around and yells at us for shit that we don't do.
Yeah.
And we're not allowed to fire him either.
Yeah. He came with the building. I guess that there wasn't much about him in the will. Just
that we have to, leave it as is and can't sell it.
Yep, can't sell it.
It didn't say anything about we couldn't take dynamite to it.
I mean, yeah, there's nothing we can't blow it up, but I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
Yeah, but so is what this building is doing. It's morally illegal because
morally illegal
music.
It
won't let me play my music.
It'll let you play it. I mean, I can hear it in the building. You just can't play it for other people.
That's the point of a radio station.
Well, I mean, true. That's true.
If I wanted to just play music, I would just play music on an iPod or so.
What?
What are you guys doing? Are you kidding me?
The red light came on, man. That's what we're supposed to do.
You've been here longer than us. You should know what the hell that is. But anyhow, so I guess we're on air.
I'm sorry.
And we're gonna take some calls or something. Somebody play some music. I don't know. What are we gonna do with this damn thing? I
mean, I'm not sure. I guess we could take a call since we're actually live. It'd be nice to hear from someone else. I do have a caller on the line. His name is Paul. He works at a local haunted attraction. I guess he's been documenting some stuff where he works and he wants to share it with us. I don't know. I have no idea what's happening with that.
Do I look like fucking Dr. Phil? Does he need some bald guy to say, "You're all right, it's okay"?
I don't think he's looking for advice so much as just he's looking for a place to tell his story.
Oh, okay. Well, that's...
Yeah. So, all right, Paul. You're on air.
Hey everyone, my name is Paul, and I help manage a local haunted attraction somewhere in Ohio. I don't feel entirely comfortable providing any more information than that. While I can assure you all these events are real, the names of the people, including my own, and places you'll be hearing throughout, have been changed for privacy and safety reasons. Should you somehow internet sleuth your way into finding our location, do so at your own peril. I know, it sounds like a cheesy thing to say, and you probably think I'm just trying to hype the place up. Let me assure you, I'm not. If you stick around and listen to these recordings, I'm confident that you'll come to the same conclusion yourself. Things have gotten out of hand recently, and I figured it was time to start documenting them, in case I disappear like most of the management team before me. I feel obligated to leave something behind for my replacement. I'm also doing this for my family, to ensure their safety should the need arise. I chose an audio format because it's the easiest way for me to document things while keeping up with my work and home life. I'm doing this through a combination of recorded conversations and personal recollections that I hope don't become too confusing for the listener. I'll try to keep things as direct and simple as possible, but please, bear with me. Okay, I guess I should start with the easy stuff. Many of you are probably familiar with the haunted attraction industry, either as a guest or a performer. It's probably how you found out about what I'm doing here in the first place. For everyone else, I'll attempt to provide some clarity now and then to get you up to speed. I'd also ask that you question what you've been doing with your life. Seems like a fair trade, yeah? Contrary to popular belief, haunting is a year-round position. At least, it is to those of us that take it seriously. Just because you only think about us around Halloween doesn't mean we aren't open or working on something to terrify you with in the meantime. Many of us open up for special occasions and private events throughout the year as well. If we aren't doing that, we're building things or having endless meetings. Those last two things may not be as glamorous as our live performances, but you can't have a haunt without them. You might assume that all kinds of strange things happen in haunted attractions naturally, so let me start by bursting that bubble for you. They don't. I've worked in quite a few over the last 30 years, and before I worked at this one, the creepiest things have only ever involved employees pranking one another or jumping out from strange places at an inopportune time. I mean, if you can't randomly terrify the people you love, then what's the point? Since I started working here, I've experienced strange disappearances, intense paranormal activity, and a lot of real blood that no one can seem to account for. And that was before I was promoted to management. I'd say half of what an employee or guest sees here each night is probably real. Just in case you start to doubt my knowledge and commitment to the haunt industry at some point, here are a few facts to help ease your concerns. I'm starting my 4th season with this particular haunt, but it's my 29th as a haunter in general. I've held every position available in the industry, in and behind the scenes, including management and partial ownership. I regularly meet up with other haunters from all over the globe for cons and special events. It's not a hobby, or even just a passion for me. It's a way of life. Though I've been working here since the place opened, I've only been in management since last season. The owner, who I've never met in person, promoted me by post, an actual letter, if you can believe it, shortly after 2 of the other managers went missing. There's a much longer story there, as you can imagine, but I'll save that for when it becomes relevant, and trust me, it will. You might be wondering what my job here is exactly. Some days, I ask myself the same question. I often help another manager, Brian, train the acting staff. I teach them improv skills, help them develop original characters, and give them specialized training on props and such for their specific scenes. Brian and I also jump into character ourselves from time to time to cover no-shows and, just blow off some steam. Free therapy, am I right? When we're close to the public, I'm in charge of all advertising media. If it's audio, print, or visual, I'm probably the guy that made it. I work closely with our marketing and public relations manager, Kathleen, to create enticing campaigns to get folks like you in the doors. I'm still not entirely sure that's a good thing, but the smiles and excitement on the guests as they leave help me sleep a little better at night. Besides the normal business duties, there's the manual I'm expected to follow in relation to what the company calls special circumstances. If that sounds ominous to you, you're already getting the point. It's a thick color-coded binder, the big cheap white one from your local superstore, with a picture of that kid with a turtle painted on his face from the news a while back. The I like turtles kid. I asked Kathleen about it once. She told me she thought it would help for everyone to have a fun distraction from the bleaker side of the job. That was followed by the same speech we've all heard about comedy being the best medicine for anything that ails you. Anyway, we refer to that Walmartian tome as the Bible. I know you can't see them, but be rest assured that I'm heavily using air quotes right now. I have a feeling I'll be doing that a lot. While it's not necessarily meant to save our eternal souls from damnation or anything, it provides a wealth of information on how to survive our building and the things that dwell within it. It details any possible situation that could arise and comes with quick reference charts in the back on how to handle them. One of our meetings each week is dedicated entirely to updating it with new information. Kathleen is a stickler about that. There's actually a poster of a famous author, Aldous Huxley, on her wall. Beneath it, there's a quote that says, "The worst enemy of life, freedom, and the common decencies is total anarchy. The second worst enemy is total efficiency." I suspect I'll be referencing the Bible in these updates frequently. Unfortunately, all attempts thus far to take pictures or video of the book have been unsuccessful. Either the film is absolutely useless, the digital images distort heavily, or the pages come out looking like blank legal ledgers. I'm still looking for a way around that, so these audio transcriptions will have to suffice for now. At the end of the day, I'm doing the jobs of both the people I've replaced. It's a lot of work, but I get paid a lot of money to put up with all the weird shit that happens here. What you make in a year, I probably make in a month. Still, I'm not sure any amount of money is worth the level of complicity expected of me. If I didn't have a pregnant wife and a 3-year-old at home, I'd like to think I'd have quit long before now. But I'm not entirely sure that's true. Financial freedom is a powerful motivator. Using my family as a sole excuse is another one of those little things that helps me sleep at night. Okay, back to the point of all this. I've noticed that things have gotten increasingly worse over the last few months. Despite not being open for the regular season, there's been a notable uprise in strange occurrences and deadly phenomena. I've tried to talk to the other managers about my concerns, but most of them just blow me off or always have some excuse to explain things away. Brian's the only other manager that seems to actually notice that anything is wrong and always has my back. He's in his mid-20s, a hard worker, not too smart, but he makes up for it with a fantastic and sometimes dangerous sense of humor. He's also a total bro. If I'm being honest, I'm not even sure how he got the job, but I'm glad he did. I couldn't do this without him. I suspect Kathleen knows a lot more than she's letting on, though. She's the only remaining original member of the management team here, and the only one in the building that's ever met our mysterious owner in person. Anytime I've tried to get more details out of her, she artfully finds a way to change the subject. If misdirection was an Olympic sport, Kathleen would be swimming in gold medals. Now that you're mostly up to speed on things, let's dive on in. Okay, I'm starting to feel like my Olympic sport illusions are falling by the wayside here. Swimming, diving, these are the jokes, people. Tough crowd. Anyway, this morning, Brian and I received a direct email from the owner. This was surprising because any information we need to know is usually passed on to Kathleen, who then passes it on to us. It's also kind of weird because that letter he sent me in the mail that time, I guess he's upgraded his technological abilities. I've never heard the man's voice before, so I'll be doing an impression of what I think it could sound like. For better or worse, here's what it said.
Greetings and salutations. I'm writing to inform you of a project I'd like the two of you to handle personally. Due to a sudden increase in operational costs, I've decided to open our doors to the public for special events outside of our normal operating season. I require the two of you to hire and train additional staff for this project as needed. In addition, you will be expected to work with Kathleen to create some concept ideas for these events. I'm looking for low-cost ideas that can be put together quickly and efficiently, but also provide unparalleled entertainment to our guests. Our first event will be scheduled for the weekend before St. Valentine's Day. I realize that this is short notice and I'm asking a lot of you both, but I have faith in you. Do not disappoint me. Sincerely, Alistair Moores. P.S. Many of our current safety measures will be suspended for these events. Alan will be running a security meeting later today with more details.
The bodies have been piling up more frequently as of late, and our boss wants to suspend safety measures.
That can't be good.
Brian pointed out. Captain Obvious to the rescue. We headed to Kathleen's office to get to work right away. I didn't know what would happen if we disappointed Mr. Morris, but I sure as hell don't want to find out. Kathleen was waiting for us in her office. There are a few things to explain about her before we go any further. If you've ever seen the US version of The Office, she bears a striking resemblance to Phyllis. Her personality, not so much. That's sort of like Roz from Monsters, Inc. Kathleen runs a tight ship and isn't afraid to call or email you if you're even a minute past the deadline. She's jovial in person as long as you remember this and make an effort to stay on her good side. So far, she and I have gotten along famously. She wasn't a big fan of Brian, though.
I see you both got the email from Mr. Morse. Let's get started.
Kathleen loved special assignments like this. I can only assume she had gotten the message long before we did, based on the color-coded binders with our names on it she placed in front of us as we sat down. The quick glance I shared with Brian confirmed that we did not share her level of excitement.
If you both will kindly flip to the pink tab in the front, we can get started.
She explained. I found the pink tab and flipped to it immediately. A quick scan of the first page revealed a plan labeled Project Friendlies. I want to stop for a moment and address what the Friendlies are exactly. A lot of strange beings and objects call our building home, for one reason or another. These are the ones we deal with most often. To my knowledge, none of them have directly harmed any guest or staff members.
You seriously expect us to put a Cupid costume on Rogue?
Brian was somewhere between exasperation and unfettered anxiety. This meeting was getting off to a fantastic start. Rogue is a life-size prop in the guest queue line that's always changing based on the overall emotions of people in the building. During the traditional season, it looks like a scarecrow with a pumpkin face holding a scythe. And the off-season, well, it never looks the same 2 days in a row. Just last week, it went from being one of those giant skeletons that were popular for a while back at Home Depot, and the day after, a full-size, rainbow-colored, undead unicorn. We refer to it as Rogue due to its mischievous nature.
I'm sure if you speak to Rogue about it directly and explain that it's a sincere request from Mr. Moores, they will oblige. It's possible an actual costume won't even be necessary if you employ the appropriate tact. This may be a job more suited to you, Paul.
Kathleen was glaring daggers at Brian one moment and smiling at me kindly the next. I did what I always do in a situation like this. I'm on top of it, Kathleen, I said with a smile, quickly followed by a nod. Few people question that classic line from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. It's amazing what you can learn about in life from 90s films.
Excellent. On to the next item on the page. Since this is an event strictly geared towards adult couples, Mr. Morse thinks it is best we don't spend much time trying to wrangle Heckle and Jekyll.
Kathleen seemed displeased by that, but would never outright disagree with the boss. I had my own concerns about this, but Brian seemed relieved. It was usually his job to keep them in line. Heckle and Jekyll are two 10-foot, creepy-ass clown props in the Midway that randomly sing inappropriate songs and scream vulgarities to anyone that passes by. They go missing from their scene from time to time, and no one seems to know why. I've asked Brian about it a few times, but he never elaborates beyond a heavy sigh and telling me that some things are better left a mystery.
Moving right along, the last item worth mentioning in the pink section are the strays. Mr. Morse put me in direct contact with their representative early this morning. They've requested a private meeting with the two of you. Apparently, as the acting managers, they say you are the only ones they should be taking orders from.
Of the things mentioned so far, that gave me the most measure of pause. To my knowledge, no one had successfully communicated with them directly. Other than calling them the strays, we were never given any names or identifiers. The fact is that many of the costume characters you'll find wandering around the building and parking lot aren't technically employed by us. They show up every evening when we're open to the public and leave at the end of the night like everyone else. I have reason to believe none of them are even human, but they don't ask to get paid, and we haven't had many problems with them. They were some of our best actors by far and never broke character for any reason, so this wasn't a request we could simply deny.
I don't have to tell the two of you this is an unprecedented situation. It's important that this goes smoothly at any cost. Mr. Moores is extremely fond of them for some reason and agreed to let you represent him in this situation. You're being given the official green light to discuss and approve any requests they might have which you deem necessary. I have some documents the two of you need to sign that legally excuse you of any legal liabilities that may arise.
Brian and I briefly scanned the document and signed them. As far as I could tell, Kathleen's assessment of the documents was accurate. There was a long list of possible situations we wouldn't be held liable for that listed everything from property damage to death and dismemberment. This, of course, did nothing to assuage my concerns about the meeting. I should point out that there are other friendlies lurking about. If they happen to become relevant at any point, I'll pull out the Bible and share their information with you.
If the two of you wouldn't mind flipping to the black labeled section, we can get back to business.
I caught a contemplative frown on Kathleen's face as she said that and flipped to the proper section of the binder.
As you know, not all things here are easily dealt with. I've outlined the most obvious concerns we have. Take a moment to look over it, and if there's any creepers I've forgotten, let me know so I can add them for Alan.
She explained. We refer to the more hazardous props and denizens as the creepers. The creepers are handled directly by the head of security, Alan, and his team. When we run across one, which happens far more often than I'd like to think about, we call it over the radio, and they rush in to handle it how they see fit. Alan's nice enough, but he's not a very talkative kind of guy. The first listing I noticed was simply labeled The Voice. There's a disembodied voice that comes from one of the hidden supply tech rooms in the Midway, not too far from Heckle and Jekyll. Seems friendly at first, but if you talk to it for too long, it has the ability to convince you to do terrible things. It can be quite persuasive when it wants to be. The Voice was the direct cause of a tragic event between a couple of our staff members a few years back. One of our actors killed several of his fellow employees after hours, and his only defense in court was that a voice told him to do it. Since then, we limit exposure by constantly rotating people in that area. Brian tried to get some of the strays to take it over, but for some reason they won't go near it. I can't say I blame them. The next listing on the page was men's bathroom stall. Okay, I'm pretty sure that the middle toilet stall in the men's bathroom is possessed by a demon or something. I can't tell you how many times I've walked in there and found blood and entrails thrown around like glitter at a strip club. No matter how many times we posted an out of order sign, someone will inevitably ignore it in favor of a bathroom emergency and are never seen again. Well, parts of them are. The third listing was Death Pit. I'm honestly not sure why this was even listed as an issue for this event. We don't allow guests to wander the building, and this particular item exists only in the boiler room. There's a mysterious square pit in the far back right corner that smells like sulfur. If you get too close, dozens of hands burst out of the dirty water inside of it and will do everything in their power to pull you in. I've only been in the room one time, and it was during a full facility tour that Kathleen conducted after I officially became a manager. The door to the room is made of steel, and there's several padlocks on the outside of it. As far as I know, only Kathleen and Alan have access to it. The rest of the list was nothing out of the ordinary. It consisted of things that needed to be required before the event to renew our fire permit. We don't typically worry about that until our fire inspection for the usual haunt season in September, but since we're going to be adding a lot of new events throughout the year, it was better safe than sorry. There's definitely something we need to add to this list, I regretfully informed Kathleen. She sighed, shifted her chair to face her laptop, and brought up the master text document to make the changes.
All right, Paul. Lay it on me.
Yeah, there's a weird puddle or something that it looks like nacho cheese on the floor in the kitchen behind the snack bar, I informed her. She shut the laptop and turned her chair to face me.
I'm not sure how this warrants making the list. Why didn't you clean it up?
Yeah, that might be a problem for Alan and his people, I replied.
Janitorial requests are typically handled by Alex. I suggest you contact him directly or grab a mop and take care of it yourself.
She stared at me in a way that was usually reserved for her interactions with Brian. It was an odd combination of pity and exhaustion, and having to explain something mind-numbingly simple to someone that couldn't even follow the simplest instructions. Yeah, that's a whole other issue. You're gonna need to find a replacement for Alan as well, I revealed guiltily. In order to save you from the long-winded and professionally worded series of events I experienced the night before, I'll sum it up for you and save us both the trouble. I'm not exactly sure what the puddle is, but it does, in fact, appear to be made of nacho cheese. Last night, I watched it ooze up from the floor and devour Alex. You know that scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark when people start melting? Yeah, that's kind of what it looked like when the cheese touched his skin and started sucking him into the puddle. By the time it was done, all that remained was a pile of bones and melted skin.
Nacho Shark, we're gonna need a bigger boat, bro.
Needless to say, Kathleen was not amused. She made the proper notations to the event document and updated the master copy of the Bible while she was at it. We're expected to receive an updated version of the Bible later this week, which also includes a few things Alan and his team have discovered in the past month or so that we need to keep an eye on. If for any reason you don't hear back from me, something terrible has probably occurred. I'm likely in the hospital somewhere, or, Cthulhu forbid it, dead and being used as a prop somewhere in the attraction. I left instructions with a friend of mine to release this information to the public. The information will also be forwarded to my family and local authorities. I don't know if it'll be taken seriously, but I have to hope for the best. Wish me luck. He hung up. All that, and he hangs up.
I don't think he hung up because he was kind of in. I don't think this.
The line went dead, or?
I don't know.
Well, thanks, Paul. That sounds like a sounds like a fucked up place.
We're not trying to be dicks, Paul. I promise. Unless you're being a dick, then if you're being a dick, well, fuck off.
Yeah. Okay.
Are we allowed to cuss at weird-ass radio stations that have its own rules?
I mean, I get the weird vibe that the FCC is
not involved in this whatsoever.
At least I hope not. I guess we'll find out if we get a letter.
Yeah, if we get a fine.
I've not been able to stop coughing today, man.
But yeah, that was something, man. Like, I kind of want to check that place out. I'm assuming it's in town because I don't think we broadcast very far.
You get right on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you don't come back, then I guess it'll be me doing all this by myself.
That's true.
With the janitor.
In case you guys are wondering, we are still in Ohio. It's just a small, weird town, and from what I'm gathering for your safety, we're just not going to tell you where, because, trust me, you don't want to come here. There's us, apparently a haunted attraction somewhere nearby in a strip mall that's mostly empty except for the haunted attraction, apparently, and just lots of weird, abandoned shit.
I saw a homeless person eating yesterday.
You saw a homeless person eating?
Only say this because it looked like what he was eating was not traditional meat.
Mystery meat.
Sure.
I'm going to stop at mystery meat.
So, I mean, we could have zombie homeless.
Yeah?
So yeah, don't come here. We're somewhere in Ohio. That's all you need to know. Somewhere Ohio is what we're going to call it from now on.
All right, we're gonna take a quick commercial break now. I guess this is.
Wait, we have commercials.
It says commercial.
People are paying us for this crap.
I don't know what this is. It just says commercial and the light's blinking.
Okay, commercial. Yay! Woo! Woo!
Gun in a box. Gun in a box. Gun in a box. It's God in a box. God in a box. It's your God in a box. Yeah. New from Oompa Loompa Incorporated, the corporation that brought you the magical cow, and Ed, the 3-foot bluegill of common sense. God in a box.
Just hear from all our satisfied customers. Hello, my name's Earl, and I am a professional weightlifter. I bought God in a Box several years ago when I was weak and puny and everybody liked to beat me up and none of the girls liked me. Well, I bought my God in a Box and now I am strong and I am lean and I will kick your ass. Anybody's ass. So if you want to kick ass like me, then buy some God in a Box, baby.
I wanted absolution for my sins, and now I open my God in a Box and she come out dressed in leather. And I love you, God in a Box. Thank you.
Man, we was all down yonder one night, and I was walking through the woods with my rifle in my hand. And I come across this truck. It's squeaking, right? And I mean, he was squeaking good. I said, I got to see what's going on. I took me a swig of my flask, and I walked right up and I tapped on that window. Foggy as it may have been. They rubbed it, looked up. I'll be damned if it wasn't my old lady. They had a God in a Box in the back of the truck. Picked it up and said, Lord, help me. Got the box open and the truck burst into flames. Thank you, God in the Box.
All I wanted was my kids to stop running in the streets and doing drugs. Now they stay at home and share them with me. Thank you, God in a Box.
I lost my leg and but ever since I found God in a Box, I've been able to walk again.
Dude, I was sitting at home one day watching TV, and all of a sudden I seen this advertising for God in a Box, and it was like, look, man, you buy this God in a Box, dude, you do anything you want him to. So I was like, all I want to do is smoke, man, every day, all day. Well, that's all I want to do, man. I just want to fucking smoke, you know what I'm saying? So I buy this God in a Box, dude. He lets me smoke every day. I say, God, I want to smoke a joint. He said, here, your joint. And so I smoke every day, dude. Buy the God in a Box, man. You do whatever you want. Whatever you want. Just buy it. Just buy it.
Oxycontins, man. Oxycontins. Ever since I've had God in the Box, I've had a lot of Oxycontins, man. You know, family life's been really hectic lately. Nobody's been making lasagna. No one's been making collections. Everybody's just kind of falling apart, you know what I'm saying? But ever since we got Godfather in a Box...
No. It's God in the Box.
What?
Sir, it's
God in the Box. Well, whatever, that's not important. But ever since we got Godfather in a Box,
No. It's God in the Box.
God in the Box.
Then it's right, it's God in the Box, yeah.
Oh. Well then. Ever since we got God in the Box, man, things have been going alright. Luigi's coming through, Mario's collecting the mushrooms, and everybody's okay.
I tried everything. I tried the penis pump things. I tried them pills. I tried everything. I got God in a box. Now I can't get it in the bitch. And I love you. The girls love me. Oh, thank you, God in a box.
Fuck yeah, man. Ever since I got God in the box, big titty naked women have been falling out of the sky.
God in the box, that's right.
Perform small miracles or
Cataclysmic events. Insist and piss you off, recreate the world in your own image.
Oh, Timmy, Judgment Day's coming early this year.
That's right. Take your vitamins, say your prayers, and turn the crank.
The kids at school used to give me problems, so I got God in the box. Then it rained fire from the sky. Now I don't have to deal with those assholes anymore. Thanks, God in the box.
We have only a nibble and all offers void were prohibited.
Not licensed in North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, Antarctica, and Australia.
Uses of product may result in headache, nausea, insomnia, narcolepsy, explosive bowel movement, blindness, temporary delusional narcissistic rage, temporary facial paralysis, epileptic seizures, impotent pregnancy, or mortal wounding. People that are pregnant, nursing, suffering from epilepsy, are in risk of crucifixion, are named John Smith, are Caucasian, narcotic masturbators, evangelists, members of corporations, or Hare Krishnas should not use this product. This Industries is not liable for anything that do not exist. Sorry, only COD.
Got included.
Okay, so I guess it's an infomercial?
I can only express confusion, bordering on concern. Why are we still here?
Got in the box? that was a lengthy list of side effects, and at the end I'm pretty sure it said no known side effects after all that giant... Okay. I mean, it's more amusing than a pharmaceutical ad, I guess. Alright. We just hit buttons, guys. I don't know what's exactly is happening at this point.
What does that button do?